Everybody's here. Call the Muskegon County Board of Commissioners to order for a full board meeting, and is Reverend Vanderhart here? Is Kim Vanderhart here? Let's see. Commissioner Smith.
That's right. Father, we come before you today. We just give you thanks for who you are, who you created us to be. Father, we pray for peace today, your supernatural peace in this house. And Spirit, we ask that you minister peace to each and every one here. Father, as we come together to do the county's business, I ask that you give us wisdom. Show us the way that we should go, the proper way. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. Now we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Okay. Under roll call, please.
Commissioner Brown,
Here.
Commissioner Seer,
Here.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Here.
Commissioner Hughes,
Here in Muskegon Township because of medical reasons.
Commissioner Laring,
Here.
Vice Chair Nash,
Here.
Commissioner Pago,
Here.
Commissioner Wilkins, Chair Skolnick,
Here.
9 present.
Thank you. All right, next up is the approval of the agenda. And
Yes. Corporate counsel has an item for introducing in closed session. So
Yeah, so you would need to amend the agenda to add a closed session to discuss a written attorney-client privilege communication.
so move.
Support.
okay, so we've got a motion to approve the agenda, or the amended agenda to include a closed session for later in the meeting. Are there any comments and questions? If not, we'll just do a voice vote on this. All
That
those
needs to be a roll call.
roll call.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pago,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Chair Skolnick,
Yes.
9 yes.
Okay. The agenda is approved. Next is approval of the regular and closed session minutes of November 30th, 2021.
Second.
We have a motion by Nash, support by Commissioner Wilkins. Is there any discussion on this?
I just have a question. Was Leslie's last name spelled incorrectly? Is her last name Abdu or Dobo? Adobo.
It's Abdu.
Oh, it is right. Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. Thank you.
You changed your last name?
That's her.
No, it was correct. It looked like it was incorrectly spelled. I just wanted to make sure it was reflected correctly.
Okay. Do I need a roll call on this one? No. Okay, we'll do a voice vote on this one then, approving the regular and closed session minutes. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Same sign. Okay, minutes. Now we have time for public comment on an agenda item. I have one I have one request from Ann Derwin. It's your turn. Yeah, I think you know the rules. You have 2 minutes. Thank you.
Do we have the time up here so we can see it again? Yeah, visible here.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Okay.
I can't see it yet.
Oops.
Okay, Andrew one, Muskegon, Michigan. This is in reference to TR 21/12-43. Our law enforcement officers have the tools they need for their and our protection. We appreciate them very much and have supplied them with additional tools when requested. These vehicles were just brought in with no approval, which is now required. Just because they're here doesn't mean we should keep them. Why we need 2 or even 1 of these vehicles does not meet the definition of need for Muskegon County. I haven't heard of specific cases where they have been used protecting officers as a reason for having them, as stated by one of you, nor have written positive results of their presence at any crime scene been presented as protecting citizens. We have other teams that would be called in a timely manner. Consider the response time it would take to even get these vehicles where they might be needed. I would ask our sheriff what tools he needs to keep our prisoners safe. I'm curious. This is where his responsibility lies. What tools does he need in that jail? Because now another prisoner has been found dead. And this is where his responsibility lies. His death is under investigation. So just remember, these vehicles were brought here without permission, and the responsibility is now on the taxpayers, whether from municipalities or grants. So I'm asking you to please vote no to rescind TR 21/12-43. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. Okay, is there any other public comment on an agenda item? Is there anyone online?
You do have someone online.
Okay,
Michelle, this is-
okay, Michelle Hazekamp, I see that you're online. If you would, I don't know if you're muted, but if you're,
I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
you got 2 minutes.
Okay. It is important that we differentiate the difference between law enforcement and the military. I do not agree with the sheriff having these militarized vehicles. In 2015, there was a survey that was taken by police leaders at Quantico, and 60% agreed or strongly agreed that the police department becomes more militarized when possessing an armored vehicle. A sizable number of respondents agreed that some tactical characteristics of policing, such as the use of armored vehicles, contribute to a militarized appearance unacceptable for much of the public. Domestic police, however, are meant to protect individuals and uphold the rights that every American is afforded under the Constitution. These roles, however, can become dangerously conflated when civilian police don military gear and carry specialized weapons or have specialized vehicles. Law enforcement cannot build community trust if seen as an occupying force coming from outside to rule and control the community. So I urge that we do not keep these. We do not allow the sheriff to keep these vehicles permanently, and we dispose of them in some way. And I am finished. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Kristen, do you see anybody? No? Okay, we'll move on. Next up is committee and board reports. The first one is community development and strategic planning by the chairman of that committee, Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Community Development Strategic Planning Committee met on December 9th, 2021, as recommended. I move CDSP 21/12-35, CDSP 21/12-36, and CDSP 21/12-37.
So moved, or support, I'm sorry, support.
Second.
Okay, we've had Chairman Brown made a motion for these items, 35, 36, 37. It's been supported. Is there any discussion on these items? If not, then we'll do a roll call on these two.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes,
on all.
on all, yes, I'm sorry.
Commissioner Harvey Wright,
Yes on all.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes on all.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes on all.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes on all.
Commissioner Pago,
Yes on all.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes on all.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes on all.
Chair Skolnick,
Yes, on all.
9 yes on all.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That concludes my report.
thank you, Mr. Brown. The next committee is courts and public safety by that committee's chair, Commissioner Pegel.
The Courts and Public Safety Committee met on December 7th, 2021. And I'm going to pause for a moment because I want to recognize 3 lives that have been lost in our jail. If we can take a moment. Tiffany Davis, Paul Bolthouse, and Marleone Donnell Johnson. I have a resolution that was prepared by some citizens that I'm going to read. Muskegon County Resolution to ensure all constitutional rights of inmates at the Muskegon County Jail. Whereas under the current management and supervision of Muskegon County Sheriff Michael Poland, several men and women have died while in custody. Whereas it is additionally costing the property owners millions of dollars in wrongful death case settlements, staff time, and legal fees associated with the sheriff's office in court. Whereas county commissioners have made requests for the sheriff's policies and operating procedures for jail operations and have been denied. Whereas the Muskegon County Board of Commissioners have a sworn oath to protect the rights of all citizens. Now therefore be it resolved that the Muskegon County Board of Commissioners reaffirms its commitment to the Constitution that guarantees that all people held in the jail are treated humanely, and that includes providing access to necessary medical care. Be it resolved that the Muskegon County Board of Commissioners requests through corporate counsel a formal request for investigation and policy review by the Michigan Attorney's General Office, United States Attorney's General Office, and the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be duly subscribed and transmitted to all locally elected federal and state officials as evidence of this desire.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make an amendment to that if I might.
Okay, what is that amendment?
I recommend that the sheriff be placed on administrative leave pending the outcome of this investigation.
Point of order.
You know, just before we go any further, Commissioner Pego read this into the record, and this was not handed out in adequate time. If you look at the board rules, the rules call for having time to discuss this. None of that occurred. I'm not allowing this. We can move this to the next meeting, but it's not going to be on the agenda today. So, and I discussed that with Mrs. Pego, and she understands.
And I understand what you're saying, but I still disagree, as this is an emergency matter. So.
It's in the rules.
I will second your motion.
Second.
Mr. Chair, point of order. This is
This-
not on
you
the,
can't-
this is
you
not on
can't.
the agenda.
It's not on the agenda. It's not a motion. It's a resolution, and you can do all the seconding you want. It doesn't mean anything.
No disrespect. My kid's mother died in the
Wait a minute, who's
jail.
speaking?
He can't.
I'm Swanton Davis speaking.
Who's speaking? I can't.
I'm speaking right here.
You can't speak from there, sir. I'm
Oh, I
sorry.
don't know how it works.
We can't have people just calling out.
I'm sorry, I don't know how it works.
Okay, so,
My kid's mother.
so the motions that have been made, did you do,
Y'all continue then. CPS 21/12-60 to request permission to accept through the fiscal year 2021 Michigan State Police Emergency Management and Homeland Security Division, EMPG American Rescue Plan Act, reimbursement for up to 17.13% of the Muskegon County Emergency Services Director's salary and fringe benefits, and adjust the budget accordingly. CPS 21/12-61 to approve a one-year contract with Managed Assigned Counsel Services for $25,000 and authorize the board chair to sign the agreement. CPS 21/12-62 to accept the fiscal year 2022 off-road vehicle law enforcement grant in the amount of $16,500 from the Michigan Department of Natural Resources, and to have the sheriff sign the agreement. CPS 21/12-63 to approve the funding increase in the amount of $105,465, but the county's allocation for fiscal year 2022 is now $181,785 from the Office of Highway Safety Planning for the Secondary Road Patrol Program to adjust the budget accordingly. CPS 21/12-64 to approve a sole procurement not to exceed $110,000 to purchase a bidirectional amplifier to improve law enforcement communication with Central Dispatch and adjust the budget accordingly. And CPS 21/12-65 to accept the fiscal year 2022 Community Corrections Grant in the amount of $200,200 and authorize the board chairperson to sign the contract with the Michigan Department of Corrections.
Support.
all right. From the Courts and Public Safety, motion 60 to 65. The motions have been made, they've been supported. Is there any other discussion, any questions or comments on these? If not, we'll do a roll call on these two, please.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes on all.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes on all.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes on 61 and 65, no on the rest.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes on all.
Commissioner Pago,
No on 60 and 63, yes on 61, 62, 64, and 65.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes on all.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes on all.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes on 60, 61, 62, 64, and 65, no on 63.
Chair Skolnick.
Yes, on all.
7 yes, 2 no on 60, 9 yes on 61, 8 yes, 1 no on 62, 6 yes, 3 no on 63, 9 yes on 64, 8 yes, 1 no on 65.
Okay. Is that your
Then, Mr. Chair, that concludes my report, other than the emergency matter at hand of the operations and procedures and policies that are in our community jail, county jail.
Okay. All right, that completes that report. Thank you. Next up is Human Services. Chair of that committee is Commissioner Hovey.
Yes, the committee, the Human Services Committee met on December 7th, 2021, and it was recommended, and I move HS 21/12-33, HS 21/12-34, HS 21/12-35.
Support.
All right. We've had from the Human Services agenda items 33 through 35. The motions have been made and supported. Is there any discussions, questions, comments on any of these? If not, because there's money involved, we'll take up the roll call again.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes on all.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes on all.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes on all.
Commissioner Pago,
Yes on all.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes on all.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes on all.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes on all.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes on all.
Chair Skolnick,
Yes, on all.
9 yes on all.
Okay.
That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mrs. Hovey Wright. Next up is the report of the Transportation Committee. It's chaired by Commissioner Dunn.
Thank you. The Transportation Committee met on December 9th, 2021. It was recommended I move TR 21/12-42 and TR 21/12-43. Support.
Okay, we've had two motions made from the Transportation Committee. They've been supported. Is there any comments or discussion on these?
I have a comment, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
So it's my understanding that when directors bring in staff to attend board meetings, that the staff is supposed to take vacation time or administrative leave. And I'm wondering if that has happened with all these officers or if they're being paid to be here today. I don't expect them to answer individually, but it is my understanding that staff is supposed to take vacation time to come to these meetings, and it would be my request that each one of these officers take vacation time for their time attending these board meetings.
Okay, anybody else? If not, roll call again.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes on 42, no on 43.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes on both.
Commissioner Pago,
Yes on 42, no on 43.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes on both.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes on both.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes on 42, no on 43.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes on both.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes on both.
Chair Skolnick,
Yes, on all.
9 yes on 42, 6 yes, 3 no on 43.
That concludes my report. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Brown. Okay, the final committee report is Ways and Means. The chair of that committee is Commissioner Sears.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Ways and Means Committee met on December 7th, 2021, and it was recommended, and I move on items WM 21/12-128, 129, 130, 131A, 131B, 131C, 132, and 133.
Support.
Okay, we've had motions made to the Ways and Means Committee. They've been supported. Are there any comments? Any questions on any of these items? Not Linda? No more.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes, on all.
Commissioner Pago,
No on 128, 131,
which one?
no on 128 and 131.
There's
And
A, B,
then-
and
A,
C.
B, or C?
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm looking at the old notes. Oh dear. Hold on a second. Oh, that would be no on all of 131. And then, yes, on 132 and 133.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes on all.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes, on all.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes, on all.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes on all.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes on all.
Commissioner Laring,
No on 131B, no on 133, and yes on the rest.
a 7 yes, 1 no on 28, 9 yes on 29, 9 yes. Oh, I'm so sorry, Chair. Just go night.
Can I vote?
Yes, you may. I'm so sorry.
Yes, on all.
Okay, all right. So the numbers stay the same because I got 7 yes, 1 no on 8 yes, 1 no on 28, 9 yes on 29, 9 yes on 30, 8 yes, 1 no on 131A, 7 yes, 2 no on 131B, 8 yes, 1 no on 131C, 9 yes on 132, 8 yes, 1 no on 133.
Sir?
That concludes my report.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Seal. All right, that concludes all of the committee board reports. Next is the chairman's report and any committee liaison reports. I'll do my part first. Some announcements. The county offices will be closed for 4 days during the holidays. Thursday, December 23rd, Friday, December 24th, and Thursday, December 30th, and Friday, December 31st. And next, per Rule 1, Section 3 of the Muskegon County Board Rules, the 2022 organizational meeting will be held on Tuesday, January 4th, 2021 at 3:30 p.m. And the final item of my report is request to reappoint to the Michigan State University Extension Council for 3-year terms. These are reappointments. January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2024. Willie Wilson, community member in public slot, and Gary Farwig, also a community member in a public slot.
Support.
Was that a motion?
I would make that motion, yes.
Support.
Okay, so a motion has been made for these both reappointments. Yes, ma'am.
Are they automatically 3 years or can that be turned into 1 year? I haven't seen the contract, so I'm not familiar.
Bylaws.
Just
The
contract.
bylaws say 3-year terms.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think we can do a voice vote on this. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes. Are there any liaison reports? No. Okay, Mr. Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have one item for consideration. That is to accept a proposal from the Accurate Controls for the Jail and Juvenile Transition Center supervising control and data acquisition services for a 3-year agreement with an option to extend for additional 2 years. for an annual maintenance cost of $53,308.28 per year, and adjust the budget accordingly, pending the final approval of the funds at the corporate council, and authorize the board chair to sign.
So move.
Okay, so we need,
A second.
I wasn't, I was looking at this. Did we-
Philistine supported it.
Thank you.
Okay, motion and.
I moved it in real estate.
Okay,
I do have a question though.
I do too.
Go ahead, Marcia.
okay.
Yeah, my question is, what exactly are these services? What do they do?
Yes, I'm gonna call on Director Phillips. He's the one that has worked with this. Please unmute item.
Is he on?
Yes, he's on.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, I was having a little issue. They're trying to unmute. What was the question, please?
Explain this motion, please.
What is it used for?
This motion is for the maintenance and of both the jail and the JTC for the SCADA system.
Yes, explain the SCADA system inside the jail and JTC, please.
Sure. The SCADA system inside the jail and JTC are going to consist of the video, the audio, and all of the PLCs, programmable logic controllers that run the solenoid valves for the water, the doors, the locks for the doors, all that kind of thing.
Thank you.
Yes,
Mr. Chair,
yes, sir. I'm sorry.
what kind of services do they actually provide, I guess? Could you expound just briefly, please, Mr. Phillips?
The services that the vendor will do, they'll come in and perform preventative maintenance and maintenance on all those systems. They were the original installer, so then it's a really good match for us. They're going to know everything we've got. They're going to stock everything we have, at least one or two of each, from the conversations I've had with them. And then what's also in the RFP, they're going to come in 4 times a year to perform those services to keep all of our systems up and running, including the audio, the video, the locks, the doors, the PLCs. As the system gets older and starts to fail, they'll do the replacements of the power supplies, the modules that control it, the outputs, input, output modules that control everything. And they'll also be giving us advice on migrating to a different platform for the audio, a different platform for the video. They'll be showing us different products that are available that can solve some of the issues that we're currently having at the jail and the JTC, and allowing us to come back to the board and move forward with possible upgrades and updates.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Phillips.
All right, are there,
I have a question too, Bob, if I could.
Susan?
I'd like to know, it says $53,380 and adjust the budget accordingly. We're only 2 months into a new year. How can they be out of money in their budget if they budgeted properly? I'd like to know from the jail and the juvenile transition center what the situation is there.
Susie, Angie is coming.
Okay.
Hello, Angela Gashesky, Finance Director. Susie, there was nothing budgeted this year for this service.
I mean, they obviously bid it out before the end of the year, so they knew they had it. Why didn't they budget for it?
I can't speak to that.
Can anybody speak to that from the jail or the juvenile transition center?
Susie, Mark, can you look into that?
Y'all look into that and come back with an answer. The items, some of them have been under warranty, but that warranty has ended. And then back in March, they started looking into this in the summer. So it's been a long process to this point. And I'll work with finance, IT, and sheriff's department to come back with the answer to that.
Okay, because that doesn't seem like you would, not budget for something that you obviously knew you were going to have. And I mean, we don't want to start something like that this early in the year. You've got money, you should have money in your account right now, find it, rather than have us adjust the board budget accordingly.
As far as JTC, I believe that is the case. They do have, we'll be finding funds for this.
Okay.
Okay, we'll have an answer for that.
Thank you. But if we pass it today, it passes and adjust the budget accordingly, correct?
That may be, but this also, if, for example, in the jail, if the door locks don't work, these are the people that you call to come in and fix that right away.
And I understand that. I'm just saying, why didn't they budget for it? That's something that they have to have every day. Why don't they budget for it? And the sheriff is really bad about coming and ending every one of his things with and adjust the board budget accordingly. He needs to start budgeting better.
Okay, Charles?
I was just wondering, who are we using before this?
You can answer that as well. Sure.
Michael Fulton, County Sheriff.
Sure.
I just want to comment on a few things. Yes, I do the budget, say budget, to change the budget accordingly, because we're adding dollars to the budget. Since I've been in office, the sheriff's office has been under budget every year. And we do make budget alignments from time to time. This process for this equipment is to replace equipment that we have, technical equipment for, just as was explained, door locks, cameras, computer services, hardware, software. This equipment there was never a service contract ever. This facility opened in 2015. A decision was made that our IT department can just fix the problems themselves if they need to. So when I took office in 2017, all the warranties were already ran out. We had a meeting probably 2 years ago now, a year and a half ago, with facilities, the IT department, to put together a plan to start replacing this equipment, long-term plan to start replacing equipment. We have cameras that are out right now because you cannot get the product anymore. I have staff searching eBay for products for our facility. All right, eBay, Craigslist, whatever, trying to find what we can. I know Mr. Phillips has told this county commission that fortunately there hasn't been problems in the jail. Well, 1 month prior to that statement he made to this commission, I had security cells almost 4 days without lights or running water, borderline a civil rights violation. I don't know about you, but to me, that's a problem. And that's a big problem. And we cannot afford for these things to happen. Now, I went, I think maybe Commissioner Bagel remembers, we were coming to the motion review meeting. My plan was to put RFPs out to get this equipment replaced. The IT department made a decision that, no, we got to get a vendor in to come repair our equipment. We already know it needs to be repaired. Mr. Phillips told you it was obsolete. I'm trying to work with the county administration, the IT department to get this process moving. We're going to need new equipment. The softwares, the cameras, things are breaking down and they can't continue to replace. I do believe Accurate Controls can do the work. They're a fine company. They're out of Wisconsin. All right, so they're going to have a turnaround time to get here to help us with our problems, and that's something that we want to look at in the contract to continue. The dollar amount that was presented, that $53,000 there, Commissioner Hughes, just to let you know, ma'am, that will be split between us and Circuit Court through the JTC, with Sheriff's Office paying a higher proportion because we have more needs than the JTC does. I have an expectation. I'm not the one who put this motion together, but I have an expectation that the amount of money that's in there, I will have in my budget. I will be able to pay for. That I'm not.
Sheriff, did you plan ahead for that? You said you've been working on it for a while, so you must have known it was coming. So you actually have money in your budget for that.
The money was not budgeted for it, no, ma'am. At this point, this is something that's been getting worked on. Like I said, for a number of years. Things, I guess, promises. We were told things were supposed to happen, and nothing ever did. And so then we moved on with this process. You guys remember, RFPs went out to get companies to come in to service our equipment.
How many bids did we get back?
Absolutely none. Nobody responded to the RFPs, not one.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We had to redo them, send them back out, and then we had one company come, Accurate Controls.
And they were the ones that put them in originally, you said?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Chair, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So $48,000, 42.5 is going to be coming out of the general fund. Mr. Eisenbart.
The split, whatever the split is, the sheriff just said he'll have it out of his budget.
Not the general.
So your statement was it is coming out of your budget. Now, you said it might be.
No, our half, I'll be able to pull it down. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, anybody, I mean, I think we all agree that this equipment has to be working and it has to be working as soon as it breaks down. We have to get something to fix it. I didn't know the company was in Wisconsin. Do they have a local service person?
They absolutely do not.
Oh, yes, Chris.
And that's, I guess that's what concerns me is we've had outside state contracts before and sometimes we've gotten shaft. So I would like to see us get a 6-month report periodically each 6 months so we can figure out what's going on with that, get updates and see if we need to reevaluate. I'd hate to see us spend $53,000 and get ruined on service.
Yeah, it's my understanding that they're working on other jails in the state.
Yeah, I mean, if I may, I mean, this company, Accurate Controls contracts, the same service type of contract with the Kent County Sheriff's Department and other local ones. For the turnaround time. They're in the process right now of outfitting I believe it's the Washington County Jail, their new facility over there. So they've been working in the area, but.
Oh, they are working on Washington. Yeah, I still would like to see us get a report each 6 months. That way we can see how well it's developing and whether we're spending our money right or whether we need to change directions. This is a 3-year contract. I don't want to see us get stuck in it for 3 years without getting anything going.
Commissioner Nash, just to update you on that too. The contract originally was set for 5 years, but the same incentives that we would get came with 3 years. And so through our discussions, it was kind of prudent that we just go with the 3 years, see how it's working out, so we're not locked in. Right. So that was one thing that was changed.
Yeah, just a minute, Marcia, this equipment is like specialized. I mean, it isn't, other than jails, there aren't a lot of people that use this sort of.
That's right.
Yeah, Marcia.
Yeah, I think there may be some things that aren't ideal about this and the way it was done. I'm glad to hear that you're able to come up with money from your budget to fund it. It's an essential thing that we have to have these services, and we can't mess around anymore.
Okay, anybody else? Yes.
Yes, so I think Commissioner Nash and Sheriff actually touched on what one of my question was, and this was in our motion review. This is the original service provider that we were not necessarily hoping that would be the only bidder, but that's how it came back. And they are out of Wisconsin, and they don't have a service contract person here close to us. I don't know how we can explore and initiate having, I don't know where we go with that, but I'm definitely not comfortable having it be in Wisconsin. I don't know, is our own IT able to work on this stuff if something happens in an immediate situation? What are we doing in an urgent immediate situation? We can't wait 6 hours for someone to come from Wisconsin.
Well, since the warranties ran out prior to 17, we've been relying specifically on our facilities management and the IT department to handle these. Now, I want to go back to the first part of your comment you made there. Accurate Controls installed this equipment. We have other contracts with them from there. And part of the contract, there are response times that they need to be here in a certain amount of time. Now, some of the functions that they have, they can actually wire in. It'll fix it from where they're at, or even send us a part and then we can put it in. Through our facilities.
Sheriff, some of the things that go wrong, and we don't know, every time something breaks, we don't hear about it, but some of it you said, if I heard right, that our own facilities management or IT can take care of some of it.
Well, some of the small things, yes. I mean, we rely heavily on facilities to, help change modules and stuff like that. I'm not familiar with, with all the technical terms and other things that it's being used. Our IT department's made it quite clear that this has never been a function of the IT department.
Okay. And just one other question. For example, if the door locks don't work, can you do those manually?
Well, yes, there are keys that can be done manually also, and they're potentially, I would believe that a system override or something we could do right out of Wisconsin from Agri Controls to reset something from there if that was needed, or get a check.
Commissioner Pego, did you have more?
Yes, so, the severability of the contract, because it is a 3-year contract, I think in the beginning of this, they wanted a 5-year, we went to a 3-year, but what is the severability on that? I don't remember
I'm trying to,
the terms of that.
yeah, that I'm not sure. I mean, I think either party can.
Can you send the contract?
Well,
In the contract, once it's
Did corporate counsel
yeah,
already?
once it's completed.
Right, yeah, a way that we can get out if needed beyond, I mean, before 3 years. Like, obviously, if the services and the performance aren't satisfactory, then we want to be able to sever that. Thank you.
I have the utmost faith in this company to handle the services that we need. I do. I just have a problem with the process of being. So, just-
Okay, Linda, roll call, please.
Commissioner Pago,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins. Yes. Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Chair Skolnick,
Yes.
9 yes.
Chair, that ends my report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Administrator. Next is item 11, unfinished business. Does anyone have any unfinished business? Item 12 is new business. Is there any new business? Okay, we have public comment. I have a couple of items here. I have Swante Davis. Is he still here? Mr. Davis, are you here? Is he out in the hall? Does anybody know? I think he was. No? No, sir. Okay. Okay, and Nancy, you're up. If he's out there, he can still speak.
I didn't see him, but
Okay.
I'm Nancy Steer, and I live in Norton Shores. I deeply disagree with the notion of Melinda Pago that the county's job is not to protect public safety. Armored vehicles would be of great benefit in the event of a mass shooting. And I find it ironic that the two most conservative county commissioners, Zach Laring and Melinda Pago, are arguing that we return the county's 2 armored vehicles for which the county paid nothing. This return is being requested just a couple of weeks after a 15-year-old slaughtered 4 students in Michigan's first mass shooting. This is definitely not the time to be returning armored vehicles. Secondly, I'm asking both the county board and the Muskegon County Health Director, Kathy Moore, to protect the public safety by approving a mask mandate for the schools of Muskegon County and all county buildings. Since November 9th, 91 people have died from COVID in Muskegon County. Almost 500 have died from COVID in this county since the pandemic began. Masks do reduce the spread of COVID. This has been scientifically proven, although our health director, Kathy Moore, apparently does not believe that. Our hospital is full. I hear they have called in a refrigeration truck because they can't handle the flow of dead bodies. I get a sense that county officials, including the board, have resigned themselves to the fact that these deaths are inevitable. None of you were elected or hired to throw up your hands when things get tough.
Nancy, I'm sorry, your time is up. Thank you. Okay, I don't have any more forms. And
You've got other people that have want to speak.
Oh, I've got one in the, well, one in the back there.
Good evening. I'm Patricia Jones from Muskegon County. I was here this evening to ask any of the county board members, I know with the exception of Ms. Wilkins, do you know where Baraga, Michigan is? You know what? Where Baraga, Michigan is?
BAERS.
BARAGA.
AGA.
Yes, I know where it is.
You know where it is? Okay, we have one that know where it is. Our county commissioners send our young men, and despite they've done something wrong, two wrongs don't add up to right. You send our young men way up to the county, the borderline of Wisconsin and Illinois. You pay their percent, it's 50% of the pay log up there. It's people here in Michigan that doesn't have jobs, but you are paying the Michigan Department of Corrections over 50% to provide jobs to other counties. We need to take a look at what goes on up there. So if you don't know where it is, I know you don't know the hiring conditions. There are no ethnic groups up there. There are no ethnic employees up there. So it's almost like slavery up there. You got an island full of black men with a bunch of trumpets telling them what to do. I don't think that's fair. I think the county needs to look at where we're sending people, you know? I remember we had murderers out here at Brooks. At the time Brooks was built, I was on the city board in Muskegon Heights. And I remember them saying this would make it easier for families to visit. But way up there, families cannot visit. And then, if we go to visit,
Your 2 minutes.
my 2 minutes up. If we go to visit, our name begins with the letter N.
Ma'am,
So I wish the county board would take a look at that. And
ma'am, your time is up. I'm sorry. Everybody gets the same. amount of time.
is there a corrections board that meets on a smaller basis? Do you have a correction board that meets?
Ma'am, we don't answer questions from there, and
I don't even know who I'm talking to.
Everybody gets 2 minutes, and I
Okay.
thank you for your remarks. Sir, did you want to say?
Yes, I mean, you don't know.
Hello, everyone. I'm Brian Harris. I'm the president of the local fraternal order of police here in Muskegon. We're the largest police membership organization in Muskegon County. I'm here today to express our appreciation, but also our concern for recent board activity regarding public safety. Statements of the board not being in the business of saving lives, regardless of the context, is troubling. I know that you've heard from police and fire chiefs recently, and I'm sure the EMS administration would feel the same way. And as a whole, we all want the best equipment available to our first responders and the public as safe as possible. We think that having this equipment allows our first responders to train and be prepared for worst case scenarios. This equipment has been around for the most part for 15 years or more, and I'm referencing the ERT vehicles and the hazmat team. It was never an issue until recently when the board made it an issue. When this equipment is needed, isn't the time to say, I wish we had this, but we canceled it or gave it away. I know for a fact the first responders and the members of the Muskegon County first responders are in the business of saving lives. And by virtue of your positions, the board should be too. I know that some board members have their reasons for introducing certain motions, and we appreciate the difficult job and difficult decisions that have to be made by the board. But as recent events in public safety have hit closer to home with the school shooting in Oxford and at least 17 suspects charged locally with some form of safety threats, school safety threats, we believe now is not the time to reduce equipment or refuse money earmarked to benefit public safety. Many board members openly express their support for public safety on one hand, then try their best to dismantle public safety through motions and voting on the other hand. We appreciate your support in words, but actions are much more important. We hope that 2022 will be a better year overall for public safety. All we ask is that if there's a public safety issue that is brought up, that the board does some research or ask their local police, fire, or EMS providers for input to make the best decision possible and not to jump to conclusions based on misinformation. Making public safety a priority by the board can only make our area more appealing for new residents and businesses. Our hope is that the board can spend more time working together with each other and the public safety community and equip and fund those first responders who are in the business of saving lives.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ann, did you have another set of remarks?
Yes, please.
You got 2 minutes, we'll start banging on the desk.
Bang on the I want to compliment the chairman for holding an orderly meeting today. This is what my comments are about. I am requesting that you, as the chairman of the Muskegon County Board of Commissioners, direct committee chairs to adhere to Robert's Rules of Orders during their meetings, and also that these rules be followed in the full board meetings as listed in the bylaws. Recent meetings have been completely out of order, with people speaking out of term, people telling others how to vote. It was complete chaos. I'm asking the chair to keep order if the committee chair is unable to do so. When motions are voted on, give the count, but also state clearly if each has passed or not. That's a request I have. We can hear the numbers, but we don't always add them up in our heads. We need to know if they've passed or not. The Zoom meetings, some commissioners are not using their mics. Last time I tried to listen to the meeting and it was just terrible. I mean, you all need to enunciate, speak clearly, speak into those mics, and don't talk one against another. The voices were garbled, and that's a problem that needs to be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. And thank you for the compliment. They're hard to come by. Yes, ma'am. If you'd like to speak, you can.
Ellen Beal, Fruitport Village. I wanted to speak today in regards to COVID mitigation. We all know we have to live with COVID. I don't think anybody's proposing that we shut down the schools or shut down restaurants. But I think that as leaders of our community, that you have a responsibility to demonstrate that you understand the seriousness that we are in at the moment. Nancy mentioned that we have lost 91 people in the last month. We know this because we have our signs out front, and we had put 405 in November, and it's now up to 496. Just 5 more people died last night. I think that rather than just hoping that somebody you know doesn't get sick and die, that we need to try to follow the science. And that means bringing back mask mandates, requiring masks in the county buildings, and set an example of leadership. I think this is very important. I sat for months at the redistricting commission, and there was a Republican member continued to promote the idea of making your jobs a full-time job. And that way we would attract engineers and lawyers and doctors and people like that to sit around the county board. I don't think that's necessary. I think you're all elected to represent your constituents, but I think it's a reasonable expectation that you will listen to the people that work for you and to understand science. I think that's super important because the science is basically, it's undeniable. It's not something you have to believe in, you just have to understand it. I want to share a letter that was written by Dr. Susan Fabric. You may or may not know that she has been hospitalized for an acute cardiac event. And she wanted to share her thoughts on this very idea of COVID mitigation. So I want to share this with you. The print is big. I'm sorry, it was my printer, but
Ellen, I'm sorry your time is.
that's fine. I want to just
Pass it out.
Okay, yeah.
I want to apologize for the large print, but if you have eyes like mine, it might help.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Beal. Anybody else? I don't see anybody. Kristen? No, okay. We'll move on to final board comments. Anybody? Any final board comments?
I'd
Yes.
like to wish everybody Merry Christmas and Happy New Year and hope to see you all in January.
Don't go away.
Don't go away.
Marcia?
Yes, thank you. I serve on the board of Every Woman's Place, and our board chair is Dr. Jerry Evans, who was the medical director of Hackley Hospital. And he's also head of some region-wide emergency response group. What he reported today is that, and this shouldn't be any new information to anybody, our hospitals are full. All the hospitals in Western Michigan are full. There's such a long wait in ER that people are yelling at the staff, and they're getting very demoralized about that. Of the people I think there are 84 beds. There are 84 beds, 84 ICU. And all the people in ICU are unvaccinated, or like the great majority. I wish I'd brought my notes, I apologize, but basically it's a plague of the unvaccinated. We need to do more as a county. We need to really take mitigation of this COVID surge that we're experiencing seriously. We need to relook at mask mandates, as some of the other people said, at the very least. That I just feel like we have not shown any leadership in backing away from what needs to be done. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that need to be done. Masks, 6 feet distance, vaccinations, boosters, all of that. What we're going to be facing with the new variant, Omicron, is a much more virulent, or much more, it spreads much more easily than Delta, and Delta is pretty bad. The symptoms don't seem to be as bad as Delta, but it's not going away anytime soon. And we just have to bite the bullet and do what we need to do to get this under control. I think we owe it to the people that work in the hospitals that have no choice except to leave, and that is happening. So I just want to say that's what I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcia. Anybody else? Okay, that's the end of, that'll be the end of item 14, the final board comments.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn into closed session to discuss conflict of written legal opinion with the county corporate counsel.
Okay. I need support for that.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, it's been supported. Linda will need a roll call. Thank you all for coming. We'll need a roll call.
Commissioner Wilkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Commissioner Seer?
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright?
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
Commissioner Laring?
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash?
Yes.
Commissioner Pago?
Yes.
Chair Skolnick?
Yes.
9 yes.
Okay. Well, we don't need any staff.
I want. Besides my Zoom link.
This is okay.
Okay. I have an answer.
You want to pass this out?
Make sure we're going into closed session.
Okay, so we're gonna pass these out to everybody.
You still got a bunch of people on the Zoom though.
They're not on,
Oh, they're not with us?
no, they're on the closed one and they
Oh,
can't see
okay.
anything.
Kristen, tell me when it's private.
Let me double check.
Kathy had a question.
Okay, we're passing out a letter from corporate counsel. We'll take like a 5-minute break if you could read the letter before we.
Thank you.
The discussion.